my stick doing magic. I feel like a wizard. Walked in with the ice, it just might cause a blizzard. I feel like a nerd, keep counting up figures. Don't say that's your wife and she lick me like lizard.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Kate. And before I get into the video, I just want to let y'all know that, guys, I started streaming. I'm going to be streaming on Mondays and Fridays at 6 o'clock, so hey, tune in. But today, we're looking at what manga fans hate the anime. Alright, here we go.
You are looking at one of the best action manga out right now.
Ooh, Sakamoto
Best
Days.
in Artwork and Best Manga of 2024 by Daruma, and a series so highly revered, the author of Jujutsu Kaisen said reading it made him realize how much his fight scenes were lacking.
Yo, that's
this guy
crazy.
Said his fights were poor compared to this manga. It's that good.
Chad, I'm not gonna lie, Sakamoto Days, it was a good anime. I'm telling you, I can't wait for part 2 to come out.
However, on the flip side, you are looking at a disappointment, a mediocre excuse of an adaptation. Some would call it a sorry selection of still frames. First time? The same people that glazed the living hell out of this book are suddenly turning their backs on the anime, cursing its very existence. I caught wind of this and decided to check it out, and after 5 episodes, I can definitively say, I don't get it. Sakamoto Days has been a blast to watch. It's quirky, it's fun, and the fights really are distinct and unlike anything I've seen before. Take this one for example. Blondie pulls up to Sakamoto, who's casually sucking on a cough drop, ghost in hand. The gun goes off. Sakamoto spits out his cough drop, colliding with the bullet just enough to redirect its trajectory, buying him enough time to throw a popsicle stick and distract the guy as he tucks away. Using those same cough drops and a rubber band, he creates a slingshot and uses it as shrapnel to barrel down on his opponent.
Yo, see, that's another thing. Sakamoto is so overpowered, and the fact that he uses anything and like can really overpower you with, like, he could use a pin and he'll overpower you with that. Like, that's actually insane to me.
Finds him, Sakamoto chucks a custard cream bun to throw off his aim, hops over the 7-foot tall DVD aisle and wham! I thought to myself, how can someone look at this and say that the animation is any of these 3 words? Spoiled is the word I came up with to describe these manga readers. But after watching the semi-dumpster fire that was Blue Lock and thinking about it a bit more, I kind of understand where they're coming from. And I want to share with you my thoughts on the anime, so let me briefly explain the premise of Sakamoto Days. Taro Sakamoto is a legendary hitman who achieved peak GOAT status among the hitman society. No one comes close to matching his skills, while some people like Shin even admire his expertise. A stone-cold, ruthless, battle-hardened assassin. Until one day, he fell in love. In 5 years, the once great Sakamoto was now married, a father, a convenience store owner, and the most damning thing of it all, he was fat. Oh, and he made a promise with his wife that if he ever kills a single person again, they will get divorced. But the thing you need to understand about the JAA, the Japanese Association of Assassins, is that once you're in, you can never get out. A bounty has been placed on Sakamoto's head, with assassins from all over Japan flocking for that pie. For Sakamoto, it doesn't matter who it is. If you threaten his family, he will flip the switch. So why do people love Sakamoto Days? If it isn't abundantly clear what makes this one of the best action manga out there, it's the fights. Now, I've never read the manga, but from reading a lot of comments from fans including Gege Akutami, general consensus seems to be that the fights are very well thought out and extremely creative, as I've just described to you. The fights are one of a kind, so much so that I guess anything other than perfect was going to cause mayhem in the comment section. Fans were ripping apart the animation before the show even officially released. This is from a trailer. I haven't seen this amount of pre-release.
Bro, I don't get that. I thought the animation was fine. I mean, the anime, it was still goated, so I don't know what these people are tripping about.
Hate since Blue Lock. And don't get me wrong, they were right about that, but I wouldn't be the first person to put Sakamoto Days on the same boat as Frame Lock. While I do agree it isn't to the level of JJK, Freeren, or even recently Dandadan, the criticism seems completely overblown. And it gets worse as more episodes get released each week. Every episode has at least 5 manga readers on the weekly Reddit forum commenting about how bad the animation is and how the fight was totally butchered and ruined, and I'm like, what? Bro, it looks good. In fact,
That's what I'm
pretty
saying.
damn cool. This is when I realized the same thing happened to me when I first watched Blue Lock Season 2. There is a massive difference in expectation between manga fans and anime onlys. Because while I was watching Blue Lock from a manga reader's perspective, I was watching Sakamoto Days as an anime only, and the experience did vary. Personally, I think the way they slow down the frames before impact, or when they cut the soundtrack before a massive explosion,
See, that's what makes it peak.
or when they literally add new and exclusive anime original scenes to the fights, deliver the same amount of hype as it probably did for some folks reading the manga for the first time. So that was the case for me when I was watching the show. One person said that the anime will probably be passable and anime onlys won't care as much, and they're right. As an anime watcher, I don't have expectations. I don't have a baseline to compare to. This is my baseline. Does it mean my bar is potentially lower compared to manga readers? Possibly. Does that mean I'm enjoying it way less than manga readers? Fuck no. Someone on Reddit said, "I'm so glad I'm not a manga reader and can actually enjoy this show." And that's all there is to it. And let me reiterate, I don't think this is a case of manga readers being spoiled. It's simply a case of fans wanting the best for their series. Now, that's not to say there aren't genuine problems with the adaptation. Some of these shots are noticeably lacking and are attempted to be covered by shaking the screen and flashing white lights in my face. It was pretty annoying. So the bigger question we should be asking is, why is this happening? Why does it feel like they're compensating for a lack of movement? And would you believe it, we might have the answer. Satoshi Sakai is the person who worked on the action design in episode 4, and in his tweet he says roughly, the action storyboard and layout for the second half of the battle scene were done to a certain extent. Now that could potentially signal warning signs that yet again, animators are not being given enough time to work on episodes, forcing them to rush things out. This is supported by the fact that there were over 20 studios credited in drawing the second key animations in episode 5. But Karu, doesn't that mean they can do things faster? Faster, yes. Better? No. Imagine you only have 5 minutes to bake a cake. As the baker, your primary job is not to make it look good, but to make it edible so that your customer doesn't fucking die. That's the same for animation. If the animation is choppy and you can't understand what's going on, then it's inedible. So after you've made sure of that, with 1 minute left, you pass it over to someone who does their best to make it look presentable, but obviously without enough time, it isn't perfect. Great. Now do it again with 23 other people trying to recreate that exact same cake. It's impossible. But you don't go blaming any of the people making the cake. You blame the idiot who said you only need 5 minutes to make one. It's almost routine nowadays to see an anime rushed.
One thing, I don't know how it works or whatever, but we just need to give them more time. Stop trying to crunch it down. However long it takes is however long it takes. Like, stop trying to rush stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't rush greatness. You gotta keep working on it until it's perfect. Because if you just rush it, people are not gonna like it. And if they don't like it, they're not gonna watch it. Same with T-Bait. T-Bait was so rushed, that's the only anime I've ever stopped. Because the animation is so bad. But yeah, we just need to give them more time. That's all I think.
And underbaked simply because the production committees want it by a certain date. It happened with Blue Lock, and it might just be happening to Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days is still a well-animated show. It's not average, it's not mid, but it's very, very solid. One of my favorite scenes by far is when this guy is fighting Shin, and as they're talking, he nonchalantly bites his nail. Then as the
Yo, chat, hold on, my bad for stopping. This fight when he jumped out the roller coaster and when he was in the air, chat, I was so hyped, bro. You don't understand. That was so cool.
Roller coaster comes by. Yes, they're fighting on a roller coaster. The guy jumps, and Shin jumps ever so slightly to land on the seat, propelling his way to spear the guy. Shin with the right hook, which the guy blocks, and remember that subtle nail bite? He spits out a needle that stabs Shin's shoulder, which in the end didn't even do anything but gave the fight more depth and layers. Some people said the art style was bad. I don't know, I thought it looked fine. Considering it's more of a comedy right now, the thick, heavy lines kind of play into the comic aspect of it. Overall, I can see a casual anime fan really liking this anime as just a sit down on the couch show that you watch after work. And so far, it's presenting itself as just that. Things have definitely ramped up more in terms of plot progression progression after episode 5, and manga readers have stated that this is where fights will become more intense. So I guess only time will tell if it ends up being more than a seasonal treat for anime fans. I'm gonna keep watching it, but it's probably not gonna be my main anime of the season. But Karu should be your main anime YouTuber, so like and subscribe. See you next time.
W Karu. Chad, I'm not even gonna lie, the hate for Sakamoto Days is not deserved. I remember watching that first episode and I was hooked already. I can't wait for part 2 to come out. But yeah, I actually think it's a good anime. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. I'm telling you, you gonna like it. But hey, thanks so much for watching, guys, and peace.